episode of Surviving the Survivor, we bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
Donna Adelson's defense moves reveal a possible trial strategy, but will 57-plus witnesses end up burying her and getting the matriarch of this murder for a hire plot against Dan Markel? Will it end up just burying her? We're about to find out in a few short weeks. What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime as we cover trending criminal cases. Donna Adelson's murder for hire trial, which is set to begin August 19th, is just around the corner. The battle line's officially drawn. The defense now filing two key documents. STS was away covering Brian Koberger last week when they dropped, which is why we are picking this up tonight. One of these documents motions is to block prosecutors from telling jurors exactly what Donna was up to when she was trying to get a one-way ticket to Vietnam. The other we're going to discuss, and within hours of these motions being filed, the defense files a new amended, the state, I should say, files a new amended witness list. So tonight we're going to ask, is Donna going to take the stand? Does she have to take the stand? Could Wendy turn on her? What secrets lie inside those jailhouse calls? We're about to find out. Welcoming to the show, the very best guests in all of true crime. We've got the professor without Marianne, Joe Patuto, professor emerita, University of Nebraska Law School. Next up, famed Tallahassee criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, the Timothy Jansen, Timothy Jansen. And last, certainly not least, the former Florida state attorney out of Palm Beach and now a defense attorney working hard is Dave Arenberg. Welcome to everybody. Before we get started, real quick, not to depress everyone on a Monday, but my kids are back for camp, and to keep them busy, they were begging to go to a little camp where they teach you how to sail. And today in Miami, if you saw the news, two kids died hit by a barge, and a third is not responsive. And my kids were supposed to be there today, and we were all just out and exhausted from last week, and everyone decided to stay home. My dad used to say life is a game of inches. Obviously, our hearts go out to the families affected. My girls know them. It's literally a tiny little sailing. They call it a camp, but it's not really a camp. They just go. One of the counselors was babysitting for us this weekend, and I appreciate, because a bunch of people at STS Nation have reached out. But needless to say, the COE is a bit of a mess today, as am I, because if we decided to send them today, which we have done every other day, it might be a very different day. Yeah. So the story is all over the news. So on that heavy bit of opening information, let's start with the professor here, Joe Patuto. There's this motion in limine. It's kind of hard to follow that. I apologize, but it's just on everyone. All the the moms and the dads are calling each other today. But there's a renewed motion in limine to preclude travel as consciousness of guilt. In other words, Joe, they're going to make a move, have made a move for the government, Georgia Kaplan and company, to essentially not be able to tell everybody that Donna was frantically on WhatsApp with Indo-China sun travel. Is there a shot in hell that Judge Everett is going to suppress that evidence?
No.
and show's over, everybody. It's been a long day. And why not? I mean,
well, the first time they made the motion, it didn't have a shot in hell. And I think they've made this the third time. This is the second time, at least I think maybe the third. But this time, what they add is reason for the judge to reconsider is not reason to reconsider. They say that one of the investigators had said to someone else, by the way, not to Donna, that she was free to leave. And that Scott Radius, who, was that friend, or had said that that investigator also told him that she was free to leave. Nobody's going to argue that she was free to leave. She wasn't under arrest yet. So, I mean, there's nothing added from the last time or two unless I missed something completely. And if I missed something completely, I need a refresher in law school.
Well, Tim Jansen, pick up on that, and then we'll get Dave's take on this. So, is this, are they asking essentially for the entire conversation about Vietnam to be excluded? Is that what they're saying? Or are they saying bits of, the way I understood it was the whole thing, that the government can't introduce any part of it? I think we have one hearing left before the trial starts around August 8th. But as you interpret it, is it the whole kit and caboodle cannot be discussed? Is that how you read it?
That's what they want, and it's kind of like a baseball playing, arguing strikes and balls after the umpire has called him struck him out. The judge has already ruled on this motion, and the judge has ruled it doesn't go to the weight; it goes to the weight of the admissibility, not the admissibility. So regardless of what they introduce, and they can introduce other reasons why she left, and it's up for the jury to decide. But it's going to go forward. She didn't mention anything in there about her committing suicide, killing herself, or finding a country that didn't extradite. She left that out of her motion. And that's what the jury is going to consider when they consider whether her travel was really go on a vacation or was it the consciousness of guilt to flee to avoid prosecution. And the court's already ruled. It's another wasted motion. They're doing it for the record. What she put in the motion is not going to carry the day. It's got nothing to do with the admissibility. Now they can argue the weight and cross-examine Newland at the trial.
Yeah. Apologies. I'm thinking about this incident. I was just reading some of the comments. It is crazy. And once you have kids, it's the greatest thing you ever do. But the weight of that, I am thinking about these parents tonight. Their lives are going to be changed forever, the ones who were affected. By the way, the lifeguard was a hero. She swam under the boat was it flipped over and was capsized, and the lifeguard was able to go underneath and grab a couple of kids because they were kind of trapped. So what an awful story. It's all over it's national news, so you guys can find it wherever you live. But to Dave Arenberg here. Dave, did you change your podcast name? It is hard to keep up with Arenberg. He's ever changing. Haven't seen you for a while. Where do we find you now, Dave? Forever and More.
Thank you, Jam. And that's who wrote in. And Joel, I'm with Legal AF, which is a part of the Midas Touch Network. I did have a true crime podcast, but you can't compete with STS. I mean, they'll just bury you. Joel said, you either play ball, join us, or you're done. And he was right. So it's like a Yellowstone type of thing.
Yeah.
Like Yellowstone vibe there.
We play hardball here. I'm like Chris Matthews.
That's right. That's right. That's
right.
But yes, I know it's tough to focus on the Adelson trial when this tragedy happened in Miami, Joel. So we'll do the best we can. And thank you for sharing. You see all the great comments coming in. It's such a supportive audience. Better audience. Is that right? Best guest, better audience.
Guest, better community. Better community.
Better community.
And by the way, Dave is from the Miami area.
Yes.
So, and it's a small place for being a big place. It's a very small place where everybody kind of knows everybody. Dave, on that note, I'm sure you recall Dan Rashbaum, the former attorney. He was interviewed on this show. He's been a guest on this show, but there was some talk about him, whether he was actually, because he's referenced on a jailhouse call, and Donna's talking about how he is giving advice to her, who we believe is purported to be Dan Rashbaum. There was not many other Dans involved, who was basically telling her to get out of town and to get over to, was encouraging the Vietnam trip. Is, in your opinion, at the very least, is that reckless? Is that gonna come back this time around in any way, shape, or form in the trial, do you think?
Yeah, as Tim said correctly, they can argue it. Go ahead. But to keep the evidence entirely from the jury about her fleeing, that's not going to happen. It goes to the weight of it. If she wants to argue that she was free to leave all the time, as the professor said, yeah, go ahead, argue that. That doesn't mean anything. If you want to say my lawyer said I should go, okay, whatever. Once you're explaining, you're losing, though, because this is such damning evidence. I like to say this is where the defense lawyer says, Your Honor, this evidence must be excluded. It's too prejudicial to my client. Okay, I mean, it's too damning. Now, there is a rule that says that if the probative value is outweighed by the prejudicial value, meaning it's just salacious and it really doesn't have much evidentiary value, but it's so salacious. But this has so much evidentiary value, especially in a circumstantial case where she's on the phone saying, I'm either going to commit suicide or flee to a non-extraditable country. And what does she do? She goes to flee to a non-extraditable country with one-way plane tickets. Oh, this is damning evidence. And there's no way in hell they're going to keep this out. She can do the best she can to explain it, but she's not going to keep it from the jury.
Yeah, and Lorna McKenzie brings up the point, Joe Patuto. And by the way, I want to spend like the second half of the show opening this up to all of you. So start getting your questions ready. The great Dave Arenberg has got to leave in 19 minutes. And once that happens, we'll start taking questions. But Lorna McKenzie here. Nah, no worries, Dave Arenberg. How can Donna explain the one-way ticket? I mean, of all the things, Joe Patuto, a family with this kind of money, and they still have money and they own real estate, and you're such a cheap ass that you buy a one-way ticket when you could have literally, it never would have batted an eye on the two-way ticket. But if I'm the jurors and I see that, I know exactly what they were up to. If it was a two-way ticket, I could have maybe rationalized it, but not with a one-way ticket. Joe, what say you?
Well, I'm sorry you think you could rationalize it if it was a two-way ticket, but I'll give you that. No, of course not. There's no way. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Dan Rashbaum on your show opined that people do this all the time, that they go on vacation and only buy a one-way ticket. I mean, nobody's going to believe that. Nobody.
The only people who do that are news people who are held prisoners and don't know when they're going to be going back. Those are the only people I know who do it.
That's right.
And I still think it's less expensive to buy the round trip and then change your ticket if you want to stay longer. It doesn't. And she testified at that hearing with that the explanation was incredibly silly, and she stuck with that. Now, Donna, the state will be able to use it on cross-examination. You know, when she said they only went to Vietnam because they were under so much stress and they wanted to go somewhere where if they had to come back, it would be under their own decision and they wouldn't be thrown in jail waiting to be extradited. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. You can understand why the defense keeps making motions about this, because the evidence is really powerful.
Yeah. I'm looking at the I'm checking the defense witness list. I don't see Harvey on here unless I'm missing it, but someone was asking about Harvey. We'll get back to that in a minute. Jared Tess is here. 75-year-olds. Ooh, this is ageism. I kind of like it though, Jared. Do not buy a one-way ticket when going on vacation. That is true. This is true. Carm would never buy a one. Well, yeah, she would never buy one. Carm was away for 3 months. She didn't buy a one-way ticket. Wesley John Holmes, an Aussie coming to us from Tokyo. It was my birthday. Yes. Another.
When was your birthday, Joel?
Trip around the sun. It was while I was in Boise. It was on Friday. Got back and yeah, it was Friday.
Writing that down for next year.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Tim Jansen, to you. You were once a federal prosecutor. If you're the prosecutor on this case, or if you're consulting the great Georgia Kappelman, which you would probably not need, what kind of circumstantial argument do you build around Donna's travel? How do you, I guess, make it crescendo in the courtroom with, and this was it, her final move is to get on it. Let's get into the Tim Jansen courtroom voice. What do you say here, Tim? How would you build this moment in court?
Well, my understanding is the tickets were charged by a third party because Donna didn't want the government to know she was traveling. So if you're going on vacation, you normally buy tickets in your own name. You're not worried about the government know you're going anywhere. She contacted a friend of Charlie's asking about a hotel. He was so suspicious that he never even really talked to her, that she called him out of the blue, wanted to know about travel. And then she was trying to get this visa. She was scurrying to get this visa. And then she doesn't hang the phone up. And she's having a conversation, letting her son know she got everything in order, or telling somebody, a third party at her apartment, that we got everything in order. We're going to either kill ourselves or we're going to, and then she flees, right? You cannot make that sow, that you can't make a silk purse out of that sow's ear. All right.
And
She
Tim,
was
they
fleeing.
researched
She didn't want to
non-extradition
get caught
countries.
to a non-extradition country for the sole purpose of not being brought back to justice.
Dave Arenberg, Joe kind of explained it. So this is a renewed motion. This motion limiting about the travel. Obviously, it suggests that the defense is worried about the narrative. Can you sort of explain, if you understand, what their rationale was in renewing the motion to try to get the judge's attention a second time, and why they would think it would work a second time if it didn't work the first time?
They're really worried. they're really desperate. Maybe they had some new information. I guess they're saying that their lawyer now said that I was free to go, or someone. Who's the one who said they were free to go? The judge. That's what they're saying now.
Newland, the investigator.
Okay, they're pointing the finger and saying, "New evidence, Your Honor. Here it is. They said I was free to go, so there's nothing to see here." But as Professor Joe said, that so what? Even if you were, okay, what does that mean? The issue is not that you were free to go or not free to go. Of course you were free to go. You weren't under arrest. The issue is this shows consciousness of guilt. It is consciousness of guilt when you say, I'm going to either kill myself or go to a next non-extraditable country, and then you do it and you buy one-way plane tickets. And I do agree with you, Joel. I actually think that she could have almost gotten away with it to say that we were just going on vacation. Here's my round trip ticket. I was coming back in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. That would have been a legitimate response, I think. And she has no response now. This is so devastating because it's also, you don't need a law degree to understand that this is so bad. This alone could sink her.
Yeah, and I mean, Vesper makes a good point here. Third-party purchase is even more compelling because they were trying to hide something by getting a third party. Dave Arenberg, can you explain this? You're a former prosecutor in the great state of Florida. Can someone, this always comes up, this question, can someone explain from Jermaine what kind of immunity Wendy had and has?
There's different types of immunity. The broadest type is what you call transactional immunity, rarely given. It means, all right, we're not going to prosecute you. You're free. Essentially, you're free. That's a get out of jail free card. And then there's the very limited type, which is use immunity. You can't use anything that she says against her. But if you can develop it independently, then it's okay. Then there's derivative use, which gives you a little more benefit if you're a defense lawyer, where you can't derive things based on what you said. But essentially, if you can develop a case outside of what she said in court, then you can get her. You just can't use the stuff she is saying. It's limited, and it's the only way they'd get her to testify, because any criminal defense lawyer worth their salt would never let Wendy take the stand unless she gets that kind of immunity, or she'll just take the fifth. So it's fine. It's like what they're doing with Ghislaine Maxwell. They gave her that limited use immunity based on what she said, even though they're still getting her on stuff she's done in the past.
Becky Ireland just sent a concerning message. She is hiding in the bathroom right here. Look at this. Look at this. Only on STS. Hiding in the restroom. Tornado. I'm not sure where you live, Becky, but STS isn't that important. So
not in Ireland, because they don't have tornadoes in Ireland.
Yeah, not in Ireland. So, but get to lower ground instead of higher ground, I guess. What is going on in the world today? Professor Petuto, what about Wendy Adelson appearing on both the state and the defense witness list? The defense will go through some of the other names, have like digital forensics experts, things of that nature. I don't see Harvey, to be honest, on either list. Did I miss that, Joe Petuto? Did you see
He's
Harvey?
not.
Yeah,
He's
I didn't
not.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay. But what about the fact that Wendy's on both lists? What do you make of this?
Well, she's clearly on the state's list, and clearly the state is going to call her this time. They did in the other trials. Why she's on the defense list, I can only conjecture here. One thing is, and I think this is not possible, but they might worry that the state wouldn't call her and they think they could use her, but I think that's not going to happen. Another reason why she might end up on the defense list is that when she's on the state's list, what they can do with her is cross-examine, but they're limited in how far they can go in asking questions if she's a state witness and she's only cross-examining. In other words, if she were to say, on Monday, I went to the bank, and they want to talk to her what she did on Thursday the next week. They might not be able to do that on cross-examination. So if they've got something, I can't imagine what it would be that they think she can help with as their witness, that would be another reason to call her. And then the third reason is they just want to tickle the chin of the state and make them start wondering why they might be calling her. But I don't understand it at all, because when if she's called as a defense witness, she doesn't have to say a thing. She can assert her Fifth Amendment privilege,
Right.
and they're going to have to work that out even before she gets on the stand.
That
So
was my
I
next
don't
question.
know.
I mean, so would they
can't-
wouldn't
can't
know
give
that.
they can't give her
No,
immunity. The
they
defense
can't.
is not going to call her, and
That's
John,
right.
her lawyer, is not going to let her testify.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tim, is it a moot point? I mean, they might have her on the list, but she's not testifying for the defense. Is that what you're saying?
100% she's not going to testify, because
And
the defense cannot grant anybody immunity. And if she would go
Exactly.
there as a defense witness and give any testimony, she's subject to cross-examination. She can't invoke the Fifth now. The court's not going to let her give testimony to the defense and not be subject to cross-examination.
yeah.
That's right.
Right. I mean, the minute she says something to the defense, it opens the door to Georgia to just basically eviscerate her. Correct, Tim?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you to Annalie Finch here with the super sticker. Tim, back to you on this. So the defense unveiled its witness list, and on there is James Todd Murphy. We've got Wendi Adelson. You've got Susan Brotman. James Todd Murphy, I want to say, is a digital forensics expert. You've got friends of theirs. Once the defense list is out there, what is Georgia doing with that defense list in terms of preparation?
Well, one, they know that they're going to have their own defense, and they're going to try to downgrade the state's expert, Corbett. Secondly, just because they're on the defense witness list, just remember, they only usually call about 40% of who they put on their witness list. You have to put them on there, because if you don't put them on there, you can't call them. But then sometimes you put them on your witness list because you don't know if the state's not going to call them, or you think some evidence is going to come out. You think you can rebut it through a witness, and then at trial that evidence doesn't come out, so you don't need that witness. Or the evidence is so bad that your expert turns into the state's second expert. So you don't always call the witnesses that you think you're going to call, and certainly not all the witnesses on your witness list.
Thank you, Courtney H. Just sharing that horrible news. If you missed it, 2 kids were killed here in Miami at a sailing camp, hit by a barge, and a 3rd kid is unresponsive, which is never a good sign. So, Dave, to you in your remaining minutes here, what the defense here, on top of a witness list, that they're also have laid out the exhibits, and among them are, on the witness side, are digital forensics experts, but they're also going to show, apparently, the jurors' visitation logs from the jail. Donna and Harvey's jail calls some of those are on there. Wendy's emails and her diary entries. Are they going to torture the jurors into listening to Wendi Adelson's diary entries until they just say, okay, we won't convict, we'll acquit? I mean, what's going on? What are they signaling by putting on Wendy's emails, diaries, and Donna and Harvey's jail calls?
This is the defense. They're, I guess, thinking there's some exculpatory evidence that maybe Wendi showed that somehow that Donna was not involved in any of this stuff. And this is not to help Wendi. This is to help Donna. Wendi, by the way, has already produced her diary. Remember, she put that audiobook out that she wrote about this other person. It's really her. And so I don't know. They don't have a lot. And so they're just doing that. As Tim said, you put out everything just in case you have to use it, in case you want to call it. Because if you don't list it, that's unfair surprise to the prosecution. So it doesn't mean they're really going to use that stuff. I don't know what her diary says. It will probably be very self-serving anyways. Today, I woke up and I saw my TV was broken. I called my mom. My mom said, fix the TV. Okay. TV is code for the murder, so I don't think that'll come in. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to produce, but they're listing everything they can to try, just in case they find something that can help them.
Joel, she's
Yeah.
got on her exhibit list the dress she was going to wear to the bar mitzvah. Now,
Mhm.
what conceivable relevance could that have to anything? I mean, the lists are just peculiar, let me say.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, now that you brought it up, what is the reason for that? I mean, what are they?
No.
I mean, do they just put stuff on there to like I don't know, it's like what's that? Like whack-a-mole, like you're looking one way and then the next thing pops up and it's just there to confuse you? What's
It also
the point
keeps the
of that?
prosecution busy. It misdirects them. They have limited resources. It's a small office. So they're going to say, we're going to call everyone and anything.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I guess that makes sense in a way.
But who's missing from the witness list, unless I misread this, is the two jailhouse supposed informers who were going to say that Katie, had told them that there was a setup for Charlie. They're not on this list.
Yeah,
They
that's
probably can't
interesting.
find them. They probably can't find them. They're probably not credible. Do you remember, this is a high-profile case. So the motions that are being filed, even if they know they're not going to win, they're affecting the media and they could possibly affect the jury. So part of that is, hey, listen, maybe we can get a juror, might see this in the paper. We're not going to win this motion, but we can get it out. And we may not have to call Donna to the stand.
This is the defense list, I think, exhibit list. Reports generated by TrueScope, account records of cellular devices, AT&T utilization records, Leon County Detention Facility, blah, blah, blah. Cell tower analysis, AT&T records. I mean, Tim, with the cell tower analysis, I mean, you've got the digital forensic, you got Chris Corbett on the government side. What are they going to argue on the defense side in regards to these cell phone records? I mean, they're pretty damning.
Remember the key was when Katie said, are you home? The mom said to Charlie, you home? And she said they delivered the money. And they tried to argue that the last trial that they were on the interstate didn't mean they were coming by the house, and that Corbett cannot get so close that he can pinpoint that they went to his house. And this person's probably going to refute what Corbett said, that they were going to his house and they could have delivered the money.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Tim, to the bump, and he's a I'm not saying his name, but he's a great guy. Tim and I have met him on more than one occasion, and he'll be testifying. Is there anything with the bump that the defense can use? That's the Joe Patuto 1979 phone ring. I love it. But
sorry,
no, it's all good. Tim Jansen. Is there anything with the bump that they can, in your imagination, use to their advantage? And I'm talking about the defense here.
No, I think the bump shows who Donna Adelson is. Yeah. Anybody else would go crazy, be nervous, be screaming. She was cool, calm, and collective, just like a co-conspirator who's in control. This guy on the street hands me this thing, wants money about the murder of my son-in-law, and she just goes about her business like nothing. She keeps the note, ends up calling the people. This is damaging evidence for Donna.
Dr. Reinhardt, Dave's got to jump, so I'm going to make this his last question, and we'll get Dave's final thoughts, and then we'll take a lot of your questions in the second half once I run through what I've got to run through. But does Donna's case, Dave Arenberg, to you feel different than Charlie's did at this point before the trial, literally like 2.5, 3 weeks away? Donna just seems to be going about this very differently. Your thoughts, Dave Arenberg?
It does feel pretty similar. They're cut from the same cloth. This is who they are, the Adelsons. They thought they'd get away with everything. Charlie was the maestro. Look at the license plate on his car. Donna is cool about it because look how, if you want to know who she is also, and Tim's right, the way she reacted to the bump, it shows that she knew a lot more than she let on. But look how she acted when she was caught on the jetway about to board the plane. You remember, she was indignant. Oh, this again. Oh, I mean, wow. That was someone who was ready to act and like it was convinced herself, perhaps in her mind, she's such an alleged sociopath. I'm going to use the word alleged, that she convinced herself like, oh my gosh, it's again so stupid. What? No, this is so ridiculous. So I think she and Charlie are similar. I don't see that much difference. I do think the case against Charlie was stronger. They had him dead to rights. To me, the question is, will she, and Donna, I think the case is strong, will she use that same ridiculous double extortion theory that Charlie used and it went down in flames? I don't know. I think it goes to the question of whether she takes a stand. If she does that, she's finished. No one believes that, but yet I think the Adelsons still think they can con people into believing that.
Dave Arenberg, you are, as my mom would say, you're a gentleman and a scholar. You are a great representative of the great city of Miami and Palm Beach. I guess you're sort of quasi-adopted home, West Palm Beach. Final thoughts today before you roll out.
Well, I love this panel, and I'm sorry that, I have to earn an honest living in the private sector these days, so I have to jump, but
it was dishonest in the public sector, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good lawyer. Is that the implication? No, but I really enjoy this panel. Best guest, better community, and thank you for having me, Joel. Let's do it again sometime soon, please.
Dave, do you like Charlie Adelson and sell some steroids on the side? We won't tell anyone. It's good money to be made.
Can I leave you with about this? When talking about the bump, this is the other thing that just gets me. I'm sorry. There's so many things about this case. When the undercover officer supposedly extorted Donna for $5,000, Charlie was so upset he wanted to kill this person. This is an affront to the family. You do not extort the Adelsons. But yet when Katie Magbanua says, hey, you got to pay $3 million, was it? Or $300,000? What was the amount?
300,000.
Sorry, 300,000. $300,000. That's okay. I paid right away on the spot. No problem. Go into my safe. Third door to the left. Here's the code. Made no sense.
Dave, have a great night, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it. All right, take care.
Nice seeing you.
And then there was two. Does anyone know where Harvey is? What about this, Joe, or why we never hear from him? Is he on the jail? He is on the jailhouse calls, but Carm has thought that he's guilty from day one. He's taken obviously a very low profile here. You think he has an attorney, Joe Patuto, who is advising him along the way? Is he actually paying an attorney to tell him
If
how to?
If he doesn't have one, he should have one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good point, I guess. Abby Crossing here, super chat. Thank you, Abby. Any rumblings whether or not she's going to go full send on the double extortion? I just wanted to help my son and had no clue defense. We still say she's 100% taking the stand. These are questions, Tim. So does she have to stick to the story is the basic bottom line because she had to help her son. And is she 100% going to have to tell her story on that stand?
She's going to have to tell the story. And I think she's the Velcro defendant. She's going to have to go with the same concoction of this double conspiracy and try to separate herself. And I don't think anyone's going to buy it. And you can't get Donna off that witness stand. She's going to proclaim her innocence. She's going to act incredulous that she's been charged and come up with all kinds of reasons why they haven't gotten a fair trial, that she really didn't dislike Dan as much as people think and certainly wouldn't kill him and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Tim, what about this from Jared Tessis again? Do you think Donna's lawyers are telling her that it's not looking good versus Rashbaum telling her and Charlie that they're going home? So, Dan, I don't know if you want to call it optimism or delusion or a little bit of both, but do you think that these new attorneys are being more straightforward with her, perhaps?
I don't think so, and that's because I know somebody that's been emailing Donna. Donna has been responding. Donna believes she's going home. She truly believes she's going to win and go home. Why she's communicating with third parties outside, I don't know. Katie did the same thing. These people are just crazy. I think Donna believes she's going home. And then the lawyers have to at least make her believe they have a case for her to keep going forward. They have no alternative. There's no plea offer. So sure, they're going to tell her that we have a good shot.
Mm-hmm. Look at this super planner girl showing her sass. Does being a funeral home director help you become a better lawyer? Tim Jansen, I'd ask you, but you're not a funeral home director, but our friend Jackie Fulford is. Joe Patuto, to you. Back to these cell phone, the digital forensics. Is this just a matter of like having to do it, that the defense is bringing in their own digital forensic experts to, I guess, counter whatever the government is going to say? But what can you really do with digital forensics, cell phone records and tower pings and things of that nature to say, no, it was really this, if it is science-based?
They're often a battle of the experts on the same factual information. I assume that their expert is going to emphasize that the pinging can only give you an area in which the automobile or the cell phone was, and cannot say it was at Charlie's house. Now, Corbett testified to that, but their expert can certainly emphasize that that's the case. I'm wondering, Joel, and I don't know whether either of you know enough about Miami, but I saw something that to get from where they left to Charlie's place was out of the way by about 20 or 25 minutes. Do you know if that's true? Does either of you know if that's true?
I believe it was. You're talking
Okay.
when Donna and Harvey swung by, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
So their problem, another problem they're going to have is trying to explain why they went 20 or 25 minutes out of the way and then didn't stop and then had to turn around and go the other way again when their son said, what did he say? Home shortly, or there shortly, or there soon. That seems to me to be, I'm going to love to hear that explanation. Talk about trying to dance on a hot cinder and not get burned.
Well, is that if Donna takes the stand, is that the kind of thing George is going to ask her? And by the way, are you drinking scotch right now, Joe Patuto?
No, I'm not.
It looks like a fine scotch. Go ahead, Joe.
No, actually, it looks more like bourbon to me than scotch. It's a browner color, yeah. But it's not bourbon either.
I won't even ask what it is. It's none of my business. But
I would expect that if I were doing this case, not that I certainly don't have as much trial experience as she does, but I certainly would ask her to explain that. It's like Wendy going out of her way to get to the luncheon. Although at least with Wendy, she stopped and bought the bourbon. She didn't just go down there to buy the bourbon and then come up and not buy the bourbon. This is going out of your way to see your son and then not see your son.
Tim, one of the digital forensics experts for the defense is a guy named Josiah Roloff. I don't think any of us know who he is. And for a while, I thought it was going to be Sawicki, who's your friend and mine, but your friend way before me. I don't know where he stands. But again, my question is, a guy
I
like
think the judge prohibited him from testifying because of the conflict from the previous lawyer.
Yeah, and that seems like that would make sense. But whoever this Josiah Roloff is, shout out to you if you're watching. He's going to challenge the tech-based evidence that Georgia presents. I guess my question is, how do you prepare for that if you're Georgia? Because that just seems like sort of, first of all, it's not really, it's her concern because she's the boss, but it's really going to be Chris Corbett. What does Chris Corbett have to do to prepare for this? Anything?
Listen, they've already taken the deposition of this expert. They know exactly what he's going to say. Okay. Corbett's probably already read his transcript, and he's going to give his answers, and they probably have new questions for Corbett that will undermine this guy. Corbett's probably helped them draft cross-examination questions for their expert. The two things that are going to kill Donna, well, two or three things. One is going to be common sense. Two is that secret witness called science. And three, that's just laughable. And I think that her going over to Vietnam is going to be the clincher. And they know it. That jury instruction is going to be given to the jury. And the jury's going to be told, you can infer guilt by her consciousness of guilt fleeing the jurisdiction.
Tim, have you ever had a case, and I mean this with all due respect, where you kind of don't throw everything at the wall? Because I feel like all defense attorneys are just constantly mudding the waters. So is that what they're doing here again with the the reintroduction of this motion in limine about the travel evidence. I mean, are they just doing what they're supposed to do by filing motion after motion here?
No, a good defense is clear, concise. A bad defense is throwing up. It's like an exam in law school. If you know the answer to the question, you write it in a clear, concise manner. If you don't know the answer, you throw every legal term you know, hoping the professor would give you some credit. Professors know when they don't understand the question because they throw in nonsense. And the person that writes an exam clearly identifies the issue, gives the answer, they get graded higher. And same with trials. If you go on with a clear defense, you stick to your defense from opening to closing, you got a stronger case than throwing all these red herrings and these rabbit trails that they want the jury to run down.
Yeah. STS, please feel free to start. If you have questions, capital Qs, 3 Qs in your question. I'll do my best to get to as many as we can. As you know, we're hitting the back end of the show here. But Joe Patuto, to you, the professor, you've got the 2 hitmen and the middle woman. You've got Sigfredo, Katie McBanawa, Luis Rivera. In your opinion, who's the most critical in this trial? And is there any chance, under any circumstances, that we actually hear from Sigfredo?
I wish we would hear Sigfredo because he would have potentially information that the other 2 at least claim not to have, which is what was in that envelope that Katie gave him with the information about, with the money and the information about where the house was and everything. And he might also be able to connect Donna and even Wendy better. Of the 3, you had Katie, Sigfredo, Katie, Luis Rivera, and who was the third?
Katie, Luis,
Sigfredo.
McBanawa. Sigfredo, McBanawa, Rivera.
Okay. Well, Sigfredo, I don't think is going to testify.
Yeah.
I think Luis is very credible, but Katie is really the one who ties the family directly to the payoff and the murder. Luis is very, compliments her very well. He corroborates some of it, but she's the one that really ties the family to Sigfredo. So I would say she's the more important of the 2, and Sigfredo's not going to testify. So,
yeah, and I'm just looking at the defense list now. Is Jeff Lacoste on there? Is my question?
No,
he's not.
I didn't see him
okay,
on.
yeah,
but
I didn't see him on there.
The defense list says it's incorporating by reference everybody who's on the states list. So he's not listed specifically, but they have the catch-all at the end.
Yeah, you always do that.
I know.
Oh, well, Tim, let me ask you a question. I mean, I guess the question is, wouldn't it behoove the defense to say, how do we know it's not Jeff Lacoste? He had this infatuation with Wendy. I mean, we know he wasn't there. I guess, the alibi doesn't stand up, which is a minor problem there. But, the jurors don't know the story the way we know the story. So I guess the overarching question is there any scenario where they can use him to muddy the waters in any scenario?
He acted weird sometimes, but he came across sincere. He came across credible. He's a weird guy, and he kind of looked like Dan. And maybe they were trying to set him up if you presuppose Wendy had knowledge. As far as the last question you had for Joe about these 3 witnesses, Katie's credibility is about 1 out of 10. Sigfredo's not going to come testify. Lewis, who has the worst rap sheet, but comes off the most credible at all of all of them. And they're going to use him. They don't need him, but he is credible. They're going to use Katie about the money and about her saying that her parents just came by. But you're not going to rest your whole case on Katie. Not at all.
A couple interesting questions here. Joe Patuto, she fly 9. Besides the one-way ticket from Indochina Sun Travel, in your opinion, what's the most damning evidence against Donna Adelson heading into this trial?
I would say of the evidence we know about, I think it's her behavior with regard to the bump. which was so
Mm.
unlike what anyone who had no guilty knowledge or involvement would do. I mean, there's other things. It's her involvement in the money and, those sorts of things. But I think it's the bump. Of the evidence we have not seen yet, it may turn out to be the information from, what is her name, Bernhard, about whether Donna tried to get her to, tried to trump up a story with her to exculpate Donna and show that Katie was a liar. I mean, if that evidence comes in that way, then that's certainly I would say the second most compelling, even given the fact that Bernhardt's got a long rap sheet and is also not going to be the most credible witness that we'll hear.
Tim, I didn't really want to bring this up, but it's all over the chat. So last time we heard Wendy was in Austin, and now there's reports that she's somewhere in Colorado, I believe. Okay. I don't know. I just on the surface, what do you make of that? If she's moving around, what does that tell you, if anything?
Well, it seems like she's moving as far as she can from Florida, from Tallahassee and Fort Lauderdale. I don't know. I think it has, we don't know what's going on with her kids. We don't know what's going on with her personal life. If she's getting serious with some person, maybe he got a job transfer. Who knows? On the witness list, remember, you got two guards in the Leon County Jail are being called by the state.
Yeah,
well,
and
what
Tim,
are they going to say?
Yeah, what are they going to say? That's my question, Tim. What are they going to testify to?
Well, they wouldn't be on the state's witness list if they were going to say something bad about Donna. So I can tell you that.
Armand Fence here. Well, I'm going to circle back to that. Do you think Georgia is going to be harder on Wendy this time around, Tim, because the state does not really need her anymore? That's an interesting question. Is Georgia just going to let the gloves off and start swinging?
No, she's a consummate professional. She knows what this is her fourth trial. She's done 3 already. She's going to use Wendy the same way she's used her in the past. I don't see that much deviation there. I did see that the defense was calling Craig Isom. I'd like to know why they're going to call Craig Isom.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Craig Isom is not.
He's a detective for those who
don't. Yeah. He interviewed Wendy when she got arrested. Great guy, great sense of humor. He's not going to do anything favorable for the defense. He's retired TPD.
The one rub against him that I've heard is that and I've heard this from other law enforcement officials, was that he was like a little too easy on her, kind of buying her story. So maybe they feel that they can get him to say, well, I thought she was, I didn't think that there was anything guilty or no guilty conscience. Is that something that you could even bring into testimony? I don't know. It seems prejudicial.
Listen, they don't know Craig Isom like I do. Craig, that's how he operates. He operates like a nice guy, down to earth. He tries to get people to talk. He's not the bad guy. He's the nice guy, jovial guy. He just wants people talking, letting the recorder go, having his people watching it, tell them what else they need or what. But they're missing the point if they think because he was nice to her that he's soft. He's not.
Jeff is on the state's second amended. I thought I saw this on the state's second amended witness list. I would never argue with Vesper, so we'll probably, I guess, see him again. Then I love this question, Joel. Would you interview Wendy? I would salivate at that. Wendy, if you're listening, you have an open platform to our now more than 150,000 subscribers. Come on, we'll talk. We'll have a nice conversation.
How about if I get our lawyer, John, to come on?
Let's do it. Then I'll have to have you sitting next to me, because I'll be too nervous, Tim Jansen. But yeah. Bring on John Lauro. Come on, John. You're welcome. This TV will be about, I don't know what this is. This has to do with the Geek Squad here, I think. What about you've got the FBI, you've got the FDLE, you've got Tallahassee PD. Tim, you have all these law enforcement agencies, but how do you use them so as not to overwhelm a jury with too many law enforcement agents who can sometimes be dry on the stand? Is that something, I don't know, are these like the big / little things you have to consider when you're getting ready for game time, aka the trial?
Some prosecutors go chronologically. Others go, okay, I want to hit my high points during the end. I want a strong first witness, keep the jury. I want to finish on this day with this one. These are good witnesses. Pat Sanford will be a good witness. Corbett's going to he's a very good witness. Isom, I don't even think the state didn't even call Isom for Charlie, did they?
It
I
did
don't
not.
recall. I didn't recall
It did
seeing
not.
there. He's retired. But Sanford's going to be there for sure. And Sanford's going to be there to talk about the flight on the tarmac. I mean, I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see Donna take the stand. I
Me
can't
too.
wait to see the opening and see what their defense is going to be in the opening. I am just waiting for that.
Tim, will Donna have to wear jail clothes? No, she's going to be in regular clothes. I think
No.
just like Charlie, unless she's convicted. But Tim, you're looking at her now. If you were her attorney, what would you tell her that she needs to wear on day one of this trial? She's going to have the glasses sliding down the nose with a Ned Smith-like bun up on her head. What's going on? How would you tell her to look?
Well, you got a problem there because you got someone, she's very vain, very concerned about her looks, but you got lawyers telling her you need to look plain Jane like a grandmother. She doesn't want to look like a grandmother. She took great pride in not looking like a grandmother, very, very athletic, very stylish, hair all done, certainly didn't resemble her age. So we'll see. She had fittings in the courthouse, which has never been done. Some deputies told me they've never seen it where they let an inmate try all these different clothes on at the courthouse with deputies having to supervise. So she's been given some benefits.
Yeah, there'll be a fashion show. Go ahead,
Joel. She's got that new bob, so she's not going to come in with a bun on the top of her head because the hair isn't long enough to do a bun.
That's an excellent point. Silly me. Joe Patuto, back to you, to what Tim was just talking about. Any besides saying something not I guess endearing about Donna Adelson, what are these correction officers from her facility going to testify to, do you think?
Yeah, my only guess, and it's purely a guess, is in some ways they're going to corroborate the Bernhardt story. Whether it will be that they saw the two of them together, whether it will be that Bernhardt may have said, they may have gathered from Bernhardt that something was going on. I mean, I know what it will be, but my only guess is that's what they're there to do.
And Tim Jansen, this is an interesting question, which I think I know the answer to. Inquisitively me, will Charlie be allowed street clothes if he testifies for the defense? What's the protocol there? They're going to have to know. I think you told me they have to make it known that he is a convicted
murderer,
felon, right? Yeah.
No, he's not going to have street clothes. They only give street clothes when you're a defendant because they don't want the inference that you're in jail, which is crazy because anybody charged with first-degree murder is almost 99%, 100% of times is in jail. But they want that perception. The courts have ruled that, and they let them wear street clothes, just like they don't want defendants that, that the public defenders represented them. They do all they can to make sure that they don't know that. And when they take them in and out, they make sure the jury is out of the room before the bailiffs walk them out. So it's all perception.
And by the way, Tim, when I asked you the question about Wendy going from Austin apparently to somewhere in Colorado, and I don't know for sure that is true, but if that is the case, can we be sure that the Leon County, the state attorney's office are they following her? Like, do they have her tracked in case she wants to pull a Donna? Let's say Donna's convicted and suddenly she's on a one-way flight to Singapore. I don't know. I mean, do they have her being tracked at this point, do you think?
No. They're not tracking Wendy.
Really? Interesting. Interesting. There you go. And I was going to ask a follow-up question, but it made me nervous. So I won't ask a follow-up question. Joe Patuto, the state also has on its list some kind of memo from Jason Newland with a photograph. any clue what that, some kind of memo? Do you know anything more? Any guesses about what that could be?
I don't.
Tim Jansen, you want to take a stab at that? I have no idea.
What was I don't know.
It's like a memo from Newland with a photo. I'm not sure what that is, but it's on the
Well,
list.
obviously Newland sent something out to somebody, and they're probably suggesting that maybe Newland suggested to the witness the photo, which would hurt the identification. But what we haven't really talked about is David Marcus and Kawass on the witness list.
Yeah,
Right,
that
right.
question was up. Why call Tara Kawass? What about that, Tim?
Well, that's going to be interesting. Why Tara, unless they want to show how Tara was hired, because remember there was this whole drama with David Marcus saying, "Oh, I just ran into her outside," which my understanding that's not true. And then they're going to call Tara Kawass, probably say, "Well, how did you get hired?" And she might say, "Well, David Marcus may have referred us. I don't know." But there's something hinky there. David didn't want to be called. He fought it. As you remember, a year ago or so, he fought the subpoena, and Judge Everett said, "Well, we'll see in court."
Timbo, your Wi-Fi just cut out a little. I'm gonna it's trying to clear itself up, but you're a little broken up there. But yeah, I'm gonna just give it a second, see if it picks back up. It's making some weird sounds. Let me mute you there for 1 second. But so Joe, to you, just looking at the totality of the filings, obviously the defense exhibits, the defense witness list, the state's amended list, this whole motion in limine right now. In your opinion, at this juncture, just a few weeks out, and by the way, Joe, is there any chance we get a Joe Patuto sighting at the Donna Adelson trial? Any chance at all?
No, I don't think so.
Ugh, that hurts.
You'll have to get the sighting by me being on the
STS.
internet with you, because I think I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm certainly going to try.
There you go. So does it appear that the defense is confident at this point, or just flailing and throwing whatever they can at the wall, in your opinion?
Well, I won't speak to whether they're confident or not, but it certainly looks like they're flailing, because some of these motions, some of what's on the list, I mean, I cannot imagine, and I think my imagination is pretty good, I cannot imagine a way that you can make sense out of their witness list, and particularly their exhibit list, in any way that shows a coherent theory of the defense. It looks like you talked about throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. I think that was kind. I mean, I really think this is flailing, repeating motions that have no shot at winning. And part of this is they're spending time on some of what I would call silliness when they're trying to prepare for the trial. I mean, you would think their focus would be on what are we going to do at the trial, and not some of these things that have no chance of succeeding.
By the way, Tim, I just started watching a show that takes place on the Cape, which you would like, called Higher Point, I think. Higher something.
Okay.
Something. Anyway, it's on Netflix.
Good.
Our Timothy Jansen, we like to give out show recs here. So Tim, here's and your audio is back to normal. With so many exhibits sort of revolving around either Wendy's emails, diary entry, the things that we were talking about before, is there any scenario where these defense attorneys get up there and throw Wendy completely under the bus and say, no, it wasn't a mother, it was the daughter who was actually the mastermind of this. This is just a elderly woman who was helping her beloved son. You should really point the finger at that woman when she's on the stand, Wendy Adelson. Any scenario where that happens?
They used to have a show on Law and Order. I think they called it Plan B. They would always point to somebody else. I don't know if that's going to be their theory of defense. When you asked Joe if they were confident. Listen, every baseball game I walked in the batter's box, I was always confident I was going to get a hit. Even though I was in the batter warming up, looking at this pitcher, I knew there's no way in hell I was going to hit that ball. But you got to be confident walking into the batter's box, at least until the first strike and you realize you can't hit them. And I think that's what the defense is doing. They're feeling confident, but they really know they got a long way to get up that hill.
Yeah. Joe Patuto from Julia the Nurse here. Who are the witnesses? I didn't even know this was a thing, to be honest, associated with the ex-party warrants. Are they going to get up there and argue against that for the trial? I don't understand.
I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. I know that at one point, the defense argued that the arrest of Donna at the airport was illegal, unconstitutional, because they didn't have an arrest warrant. And you don't need an arrest warrant for a public felony arrest. And so far as I know, the runway of an airport is public. So that's the only one. If there are other ex-party, unless they're talking about, now that I've said this, I can think of one other, the investigation that started last October, when they wanted evidence with regard to what the phone calls were, and then they got an actual wiretap order to be able to listen. But those are, I mean, that's really a silly argument. All warrants, certainly wiretap orders and search warrants, are ex-party. You don't tell the person that you're going, against whom you're going to listen to phone calls or search his house. Hey, in 3 hours, we're going to be there, or starting now, we're going to tap your phone. That is impossible. You'd have to have an insane defendant who would say anything incriminating on a tap, or wouldn't try to get rid of the evidence if he knew you were coming in 3 hours. So if that's what they're talking about, I can't even call that a non-starter, because non-starter assumes that you can at least start at the gate and then you can't go anywhere. This one, you can't even get to the gate on.
Ned Smith says that Joel Waldman is a bun abuser. I love buns. Buns can be interesting, but you just heard that because of her bob. Look at this. Mia Watt, right on cue. Her new bob is definitely a glow up. There you go. Tim Jansen, there was a comment that I just raced by accident, but it was basically saying, can Rob Adelson get up there and say, yeah, my mom knew about this, in order for something like that to happen on the witness stand without being, just prejudicial, saying that? Like, would he have to come with receipts? How does that work?
No, that's not going to happen. The judge is not going to let his opinion come in. He can testify that
what if he has a piece of information that shows that she was either knew about it or signed off on it or something along those lines?
We would have heard it by now. And we would have heard it by now. But we've done this show for an hour, and Joel, let me just say, your kids are the most important thing to you in the world. You need to go hug those kids. Yeah. Because you saw what happened in a minute. Some other young kids, some other families lost their children. And sometimes we lose sight on these murder cases about family and kids. I hope your kids are doing okay. I don't know if they knew these other young people, friends, but they're really going to need hugs and maybe some counseling. And thank God they weren't on the boat. And I feel so much sympathy for the families who were. Those are things we should be talking about. Giving community support to those who lost their children, and hug your kids, because any given day it could be an accident, anything that you could lose your children.
I 100% agree. My daughters do know one of the kids. They actually went to their school, one of the kids. And that's the one that is not responsive right now. So I'm going to take that advice to heart, and I have to do court TV at 9:00, but I'm close enough to get home for a few minutes. And Tim, I really appreciate that. For those who missed it, my kids just were doing like a little sailing camp. They call it a camp. It's not really a camp. And they were supposed to go today, and they didn't because everyone was really tired. We were just kind of all hanging around this weekend. No one wanted to get up and do anything on a Monday. They probably learned that from me and Grandma Carm, who's the only one lazier than me. And so they didn't go. And lo and behold, a barge hit one of the little tiny sailboats, and 2 kids lost their lives today, and a third is basically clinging to life. And I don't know not the lifeguard, but the sailing counselor was, but that sailing counselor saved a couple of little kids today. So, but for those parents, it is going to be a day that change their life forever. Look, things are turning around here. The tornado alert is over for Becky. I want to say Becky's in like Western Pennsylvania, unless I'm totally wrong. But good point, Tim. And I was basically through with my questions there. But I think the next, Joe, you'll know this better than me, is the next court hearing. I think it's August 8th, maybe. That's what I want to
8th
say.
or 9th, I'm not sure which, but yeah, it's the last one before the trial.
Okay, and I'm going to be on with Vinny tonight on the Menendez brothers at 9, and then tomorrow 5:00 we're doing a show, by the way, on the sheriff out of Letcher County who shot and killed the judge on camera, and now there's some really serious allegations coming out about that judge. So we're trying to line up hillbilly crime, but Tim, be safe on the Cape. It is stuff like this that makes you think twice. Joe, be safe in New Jersey. And
hey, Joel,
love
Monica and I are doing court TV tomorrow on Markel tomorrow night.
Oh, 9. Nice.
Great.
Oh, so everybody tune in for that Dan Markel show.
I wish somebody would do a sort of a retrospective on Madeline Soto, because I think that child was ill-served by that plea and the way the hearing went, compared to the Kohlberger, where they wouldn't take no contest, where they on the record went through the evidence to convict, and where the judge made some comments about how compelling the evidence was. Nothing happened for that little girl. So I really feel bad for her.
And the
her
mom
life
wasn't
and her
there.
death. And her mother wasn't there. Yes. Terrible.
C. Lynn Adams, email me, Surviving the Survivor, and I will personally email your question to Tim. What is, I think it's a woman, but what is your question, C. Lynn? I'm going to wait a second to see. We try to be fair and equitable here at STS, and I don't think I saw your question, but if we don't see it before the show's over, which is basically right now, then email it to me. Email us, Surviving the Survivor, and I will personally send the question to both Tim and Joe to get an answer for you. But I'm going to hang out for 3 seconds here. Tim, how's the Cape while I wait for this question?
The Cape is hot. It's abnormally hot. It was like almost 87 degrees today. That's very hot up here.
It's like, by the way, there was it
should be 70.
Tim Jansen, there was a news alert yesterday that Tampa for the first time hit 100 degrees. And I was like, what are you talking about? I thought it was 100 degrees there every day. It's never actually hit 100 degrees in Tampa. It's weird.
Probably not with that sea breeze. They get a little Gulf breeze there.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for C. Lynn. All right, I don't see it, but C. Lynn, email me, Surviving the Survivor, and we'll get it to you. Tim, have a great time at the Cape. Joe, consider coming and visiting us in Tally, but I know you've got, other things to handle. So
I'll watch. I certainly will watch it all.
I'll pressure you.
I don't think I'll be there.
Well, you'll be our best guest. That's all that matters.
Okay, thank you.
Love you, America. Love you, Jersey. Love you, Italy. Justice for Dan Markel, and please, whatever you do, say a prayer, say something, think about these young girls who lost their lives and families affected here in Miami today. We will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great night, everybody. Happy summer.